Ego and pride aside. I know you, but I don't know you. You know you, but do you know you? Ego and pride aside. You know me, but you don't know me. I know me, but do I know me? Ego and pride aside. I know you when you don't know you. You know me.
Because when I was growing up, calling a young, you could say a young man or a grown man, call him the bitch word, punk, or whatever it may be. Them words right there. No. Oh, we gonna go. How you say head up? Or we gonna go head up, or we gonna toe up. You know what I'm saying? We gonna go toe to toe. But now, I feel that now they look at it as all like a communication form. Yeah. You know, it's weird and it's different. You know what I mean? And it kind of throws me because I hear them, you know, use it on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? I done heard them sit up there. Oh, shut up, bitch. What? I'm like, what? Yeah. No, you know that. Yeah, you know that. Yeah. You done heard them call each other the B word. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know what I'm saying, in conversation. And now I didn't see in a situation to where there was a person the age that I am, and I didn't see him in the household call individuals, you know what I'm saying, the B word. I don't even like to address another man, so I'm saying the B word. Yeah. So I didn't see that take place to where I went to the individual and I just told him, I'm not from that, you know what I'm saying, from that cloth. Yeah. You know, I said, I know that you're joking or however it may be, but don't call me that, man. You know what I mean? Because even though we good and we cool, if he called me something like that and I already addressed it and let him know that's disrespectful to me, I'm gonna have to take it there with you. You know what I mean? Because I already addressed the situation. Yeah. I'm not trying to, you know, I don't come as I'm being a bully. It's just certain things that I'm not used to. So just with that in itself, I feel that was taken from the younger generation. And then it goes back to what I was saying, that instead of us setting a bar as far as, you know what I'm saying, way of acting or being appropriate or however it may be, we're taking things from them as far as their conversation, their clothing style, the way that they're moving, you know what I mean? The things that they're indulging in, you know, at the younger age. And my thing is like this: how can a person look to you when you're not doing nothing with your life as well? Because a person will say like this, and it's cold that they do say this, but y'all heard young individuals talking, man, I'm having more money than you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they base it on the money. You know what I'm saying? Or just your current stance as far as in the world today. So if they see that you're not really doing nothing, because you can see a man that's a working man and you can see that he's working. You know what I'm saying? So you can respect that. So when they talk about the hustle thing ain't really, that's watered down right now. Yeah. For a person to sit up here, he's talking about he's out hustling and doing all this, so forth and so on. He's really not doing, you know what I'm saying, nothing on no major level, especially if he's talking about in the street hustle. You know what I mean? Because you're just accumulating pennies at the end of the day. But as far as having that, you know, that 9 to 5, a person looks at that because they even call it a 9 to 5 hustle now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I didn't hear you say, man, I'm about to get my hustle on. But it's actually talking about working. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Putting in overtime. And then once you see this individual, I think you didn't came to me about some ideas or not ideas, but examples as far as a person stacking his money. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you know what I'm saying? Putting, you know, either stacking it for a purpose to get the car. Yeah. You know what I mean? To get them some gear, so forth and so on. So if you have them setting that type of example, you got to think to yourself, where did they learn that from? Is it something they conjured it up themselves? Did they get it from a different culture? You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you have to go to different cultures and basically, because I had, when I was younger, there was an Asian family that lived up above me. And this Asian family, it was like the dad, the wife, the son, the daughter-in-law, the grandma, and I think there was another relative that lived with them. But they lived up above us. We lived in a duplex. And this is me, you know, young black man, you know, really don't see no male figures, you know what I'm saying? Besides, like I say, a lot of my family, they did the garbage route. But I'm going to be honest with you, I never see myself as being a person, you know, doing the garbage route. I always see something bigger for myself in life, you know what I'm saying? But as always, sometimes we come off the railroad tracks as well. And basically what I did, I allowed myself to be engulfed into what was going around in my community at the time. You know what I'm saying? And I dive in their head deep because that's how my mind is. And came to a point to it was about survival. like I always tell people, I ain't never been no gangster or nothing like that. It's about survival on mine. It just, fortunately, I had that type of mentality that could take things wherever it needs to go. But living, there, I was still always observant. And what I noticed is that this family, they had these two vehicles. Mm-hmm. And with these two vehicles, because I'm trying to figure out some type of household, navigation to where, you can better, your living situations. Because I have two brothers. So I seen them basically navigate these two vehicles, but it was movement with the families. And I'd never seen, I think it was the mother actually leaving the house. So basically, she was the one doing the cooking and so forth and so on. Yeah. The father, the mom, the son, daughter-in-law, so forth and so on, they was doing the working. So, not trying to drag this on too long, what they was doing is they had one household. They all lived in this house, and they came together and they accumulated enough money to buy a house coming from this duplex. And what I did is I overheard him talking to my mom. I was listening, ear hustling, as they would say. And he basically was breaking down the dynamics the best way that he possibly could, with the English that he had. And he said what they did is they just had a system. And with that system, with everybody in that household, with him, the wife, the grandma, I don't know where the father was at that time, didn't know if he passed or whatever the case may be. The kids, everybody worked together as a unit. Yeah. And what it did is they ended up buying a house. And he said, we're going to do the same formula again, and we're going to buy another house coming off of that house. And once I looked at it and really paid attention, because I see him always with that movement, and with the cars and things like that, and I said, man, because I didn't see that within, my culture. Like my mom would always say, she used to say to me, like, we could have 5 of us living in a household, but it comes to a point, why is only one person working?
Yeah, and all their money is going to some Jordans.
Yeah, not even that. It's just one person taking care of a whole household. So you're really just playing catch up each time, or you're working paycheck to paycheck in order to pay the bills.
None of your siblings, none of your family members, none of your offspring.
Yeah.
It used to be a blessing, in the sense of where the more kids you have, the more resources you was be able to have. Yeah. And I feel like that kind of mentality of like, you never come up from the bottom. When you got the mentality of just like, let me get mine off the top. Mm-hmm. So, people are like, let me get mine off the top.
Yeah.
So it's not really about the unity or kind of sharing, and people wonder why they're always on the bottom, because they just weren't about, not worrying about self in a sense. Self-preservation is working together with people like you. That is self-preservation, you can't form an army by yourself. Mm-hmm. You have to unite among other people, and you're in any kind of mission that you're trying to accomplish in life. Educational, relationship wise, it has to be done with collaboration.
Yes.
And if you don't know how to collaborate, and that's kind of a good word when it comes to connection, because connection, you got collaboration, you got consultation. So if the younger generation won't allow you to consult them, or you won't be able to be consulted by the younger generation, and I think one of the ways or solutions of trying to be connected is having events and scenarios and situations that actually
bring everybody together.
Giving something back. I know a lot of people say that like it's on some charity type shit, but really giving back.
Yeah.
And the only way you kind of give back is just show up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somewhere, somehow, where the younger people are, and not getting in their business and their lane.
Yeah.
But just being there and exposing yourself and giving them some gems and some tools for their toolbox that they're going to need to take in their life,
Yeah. And I feel that, because, what we're talking about is just a disconnect.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, when I talk about that disconnect, is sometimes when a person feels that he's older than you feel like either they know it all, or they done it all, or at least they want to portray that to a certain extent.
Or they jealous.
Or they jealous.
Or they could be upset.
Or they could be upset.
They could be upset.
It's all kind of some type of ulterior motives on some situations. But I feel that if you go into any type of setting in anywhere, respectfully, they will respect you. And that's one thing that I have noticed as far as with myself. I don't try to go in and act like I'm just a big homie, or I'm just a, I'm him.
Like you're entitled.
Yeah.
Just because you're 80. I'm older than you.
I'm older than you.
No.
Yeah. You got to earn it, man.
Yeah.
You have to earn it.
Yeah.
That's like anything in life. You have to earn it. Nothing's going to be given. You know what I mean? So, and I feel that, once you try to put yourself out there and just be amongst them to a certain extent, you start tarnishing yourself as a man. You know what I'm saying? As an older, respectable man, if that's the case. You can't sit around and be within the air because you're not even moving the same. You're not even thinking the same.
And then, you mentioned earlier about just like the single mothers thing, and mothers have to raise their children alone. I think a lot of times, a lot of the younger people, the reason why they're disconnected is because they're men showing up in their life was artificial.
Yeah.
It might have been like, they might have been cool. Hey, you want to go outside in the backyard and throw some catch? But he's really trying to catch his mom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh man,
play video game with him?
You want to play some video games?
Yeah.
And then a lot of times, the moms, even if there was a real authentic bond, if the relationship is over, the mom don't even want the person to even have a bond with them because they done moved on.
They moved on.
And
then there's somebody else in the house and so forth.
And there's somebody else in the house, and that becomes complicated.
It becomes complicated and confusing.
Yeah.
And confusing. And like, as kids, or we respect our mother and we love our mother, so forth and so on, because a lot of times we don't know the dynamics. And then when it comes to the mom, a lot of the love be unconditional. So certain behaviors and things like that, you're not going to say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Even though it may bother you. So what happens is, for whatever you're feeling to a certain extent, now it becomes that ego and that inner anger. You know what I mean? So now it spills out somewhere else.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you can see it in a lot of these individuals' behaviors. Because one thing that I see as far as that, because I was raised by a woman.
Yeah.
And was around a lot of women, but I had male cousins and so forth and so on. But majority of my cousins that I was close to was females. You know what I'm saying? It's just fortunately that, I was the type of person that I am, to where I was able to separate the two, you know what I mean? And look on to try to find me as a human being and as a male. It's, as far as where I stand and what my stance is, as far as when I, when I venture off and I take my path. And my path has been my path. And I don't regret it or anything like that. But I was that person once, like a lot of the, the youngsters these days, to where, a lot of men couldn't tell me nothing. You know what I mean? Because I feel that I was the man of the house. When my dad wasn't there, I feel I'm the man of the house. You know what I'm saying? Even if my mom had a male friend, and whatever the case may be, as an adult, I respect
I respect you. I respect my mom.
Yeah, and that's
I respect you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but as far as him coming up in there, you know what I'm saying, think he's gonna run something and run me. I mean, I wouldn't have him. I respect him as a male. You know what I'm saying, as an older man, and so forth and so on. But to the point to where he think he's gonna tell me what to do, because for me, I only have one dad. You know what I mean? Even though I know who he is and we didn't really have no relationship or anything like that, I only got one dad. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't about somebody coming in and I'm looking at him as my dad, or he's my dad, or whatever the case may be. I respect those that do it like that. But for me, I have one dad, I have one mother. You know what I'm saying? Them are, you know what I'm saying, my parents. You know what I'm saying, at the end of the day. So, like I say, when a male did come to the house and so forth and so on, I seen him for what he was. They called him by his name, so forth and so on. You know what I mean? I didn't call him dad. You know what I mean? That was just something that wasn't in me. You know what I mean? And maybe it was, my time and how I viewed things. And like I said, for whatever reason, I always looked at things a little differently. You know what I'm saying? Because I always thought about it, so forth and so on. For the times that I was young, I was always away from the crowd. And I was always kind of looking from the outside and kind of thinking about a lot of things. And real observant. I mean, I wasn't nosy or nothing like that, but I was real observant. You know what I'm saying? And it was always in my mind, like the reason why.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was kind of like one of my things, because I think I started at an early age as far as trying to, as a male, looking at different households. Like when I used to go to like friends' house and they had their dad in the house.
Yeah.
I was young, looking at the dynamics
Yeah.
inside the household. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Looking at how the dad was running the show. Because at this time, when I was growing up, the father
ran the show.
He ran the show. Yeah.
And
he say goes.
But yeah.
What he say goes. You know what I mean? And now I can see a lot of the roles was reversed.
So the woman can have that unconditional love, and the dad can come in and check and set boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now you have, we have the generations now. We can talk as a whole, because everybody's kind of doing the same thing. You know, 'cause like even I can see like some of what the I don't know how they act within their community, but I see when they're out and about, I can see the Africans, the Ethiopians, the Asians, the Indians, the Spanish. I can see them all, you know what I'm saying, moving, navigating, and talking the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For real, the communication is running on a straight line, and I'm looking like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But I say from their character, where are they getting this from? Where is this coming from? Is it coming from the videos, the rap videos? You know,
I think it's just like social media.
Yeah.
Because where you gonna pick up the conversation?
Yeah.
You know, there's some people, there's people that you go to people's homes, their kids don't even have one friend. They might have 2 friends, 3 friends. Yeah. And their friends is somebody that they chat on the video game with.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's that's something that they turn on.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
they control the friendship.
They control the friendship. They don't really know who they are. Yeah, so all it is just chatting while they're playing the game. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So it's a different experience.
It is a different experience. I can say as far as for my son, a lot of the individuals that he deal with as far as on the internet when he's playing his games, it's a lot of the friends that he had when he was younger because he played football.
That's why I think that sports and doing recreation and having your kids and just putting them in a social setting where they got to do an activity that's not behind the screen. Yeah. I feel like it could balance off a little bit. And so, just being able to social. And like you said, different people come from different households. They got different dynamics. Yeah. And then everyone can get exposed to different people's dynamics and families.
Yeah. So everybody's not the same because when everybody's the same, it's kind of like when I was talking about how individuals can run with each other for a long period of time. Yeah. And they can pick up the same traits. You know what I'm saying? So you don't hear nothing different coming from them individuals. And then they dress code is the same, hairstyle, so forth and so on, because everything falls into a trend setting. But as far as like me, as far as an adult, and then me being older now, and then me looking back, you know what I'm saying, or looking to the younger generation, I just say, for one, I feel like you got to respect them as men and respect them as young men. You know what I mean? Because at some point, they seen something as far as in us to where they may feel that we failed them.
But you point about survival, and I feel that a lot of reasons why a lot of the younger people, like, you can't have that attitude like, man, you can't tell me nothing. It's because I'm surviving. Yeah. And look, and people that's older might not is having a hard time surviving, not just on the economical level, just structure, respect. And so a lot of older people, they might not even have the answers to even give. They might even want to share. They might even want to give. Yeah. It's kind of like, I forget the Tupac song, like, why they keep on calling me nigga? Like the kids, younger people is trying to have questions to things that people don't even, like, we're in the life now, not even have an answer for that. Yes. For them.
But I even say like this, as far as the generation today, they don't got it hard though. Because you got to think about it. For everything that a parent that did whatever they did back in the days, they somewhat then got on a track to where now they're bringing in a decent income. They're in homes, they got good paying jobs because they didn't figure it out or got tired of all the BS, or they got tired of just, you know what I'm saying, the backfalls or the downfalls that they went through in life. So once they had these kids and everything, now they got good paying jobs. So they're not one for nothing. And the main thing that I could say that a lot of people paid attention to when they was younger is clothing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Vehicles, as far as when we was coming up. Just, having nice things where you didn't have to stress, because when you went to school, and everybody did it when they was younger, when they went to school, they was looking at that individual that was walking through, because I could come up with it. It was this guy, and I thought he was hustling. The whole time I'm thinking he's hustling. Now me, my mom's a single mother, work hard. You know what I'm saying? She worked and then sleep. Now you have me with 3 other brothers, because there was a time when my mom told me, you got to get you a job because it's the last year that I'm paying for your school clothes, right? So I'm thinking about this. So basically, I went out and got a job. You know what I'm saying? Cut some lawns and some other stuff. You know what I mean? And stack my money. And then I see my mom being a hard worker, so that was something that I was, I had a visual of. So I knew in order, to get money, you had to work hard. But back on the topic, this individual, I knew him, and him and his sister, they basically got Jordans geared in. So I'm thinking he's in the game. You know what I'm saying? Well, I ain't even saying the game. He was in the life, because it's not a game. You can't push rewind. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no redo, so forth and so on. But I'm thinking he's in the life as far as, hustling. So one day, you know what I'm saying? He said, "Hey man, can you take me home?" So I take him. I'm driving because I have my own car. You know what I'm saying? Worked hard for it. I have my own car. So I'm driving, and we go up into the neighborhood that's over by Seward Park. You know what I'm saying? Seward Park, if you don't know, it's big money houses over there. It's over by the water.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Man, where we going?" He said, "Oh man, we're going to my house." So we pull up to this house to where when we park, it's a long walkway.
Yeah.
And there's a big house over there. So I said, "Man, I'm tripping because I'm thinking the whole time, because he hangs with us.
Yeah.
And he's making it like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like he's hustling and, so forth and so on." So I'm looking at it. I'm young. I'm about 16 at this time. 16, maybe 17, give or take. And I'm like, I said, "You live here?" So, you know what I'm saying? I'm like tripping. He's like, "Oh, yeah. He said, you want to come in?" He's not paying no attention that I'm kind of tripping.
Yeah.
So we enter his house. We went to his house. He got a huge house.
Yeah.
Man, sunk in living room. I go into his room. He got all his Jordans lined up and so forth and so on. But his mom or his dad, somebody's well off. You know what I'm saying? Where they're decent. Yeah. To where I'm thinking he's hustling the whole time, but he has parents that's in a position to where he don't have to worry about money. But he just chose it. So when we get back out to the car, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm driving. I look over him just like this. I say, "Hey man, why you hanging with us?" Because I didn't understand it. You know what I'm saying? As far as, both parents in the house. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He was in a house. It wasn't an apartment. Mm-hmm. It wasn't no duplex. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I'm like looking like, man, what is the reason? And I even went home and kind of sat on it because I didn't understand it. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel that he had no situation to where I feel that he had to even put himself in that predicament, as far as, you know what I'm saying? Because we was out there, you know what I'm saying, hustling and doing what we had to do in order to make ends meet. Damn. Because, you know what I'm saying, our moms were single and she made the money just to pay food, clothing, and shelter. You know what I mean? If you want the extras, you got to make something happen. Yeah. You know what I mean? So when I seen something like that, I always remember that to this very day. And at this time, I was like 16, 17 years of age. And just to see that. So I said to myself, sometimes you can have the perfect dynamics, you know what I'm saying? But for whatever reason, you choose different. You know what I mean? So when it came to looking at that, when he had his dad in his house, so forth and so on, but he looked at something that, for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying, in our neighborhoods and things like that, people look outward instead of inward. And as far as, you know what I'm saying, inside your household, you know what I mean? Because really, everything is right there. I mean, a lot of people have a lot of different situations going on inside their homes, but I feel that structure is very important. You know, that's where a lot of things is missing, as far as, the structure, in the households. And when I think of my son, me and his mom, we're not together. You know what I'm saying? We've been married, but we, separated and then divorced, but we still have, that form of communication. And even though, you know what I'm saying, we're not in the same household and things like that, we still, it gets better, because if me and her are fighting, how is he going to respect the whole situation? You know what I'm saying? If we see that, we adults, he gonna have to feel like he don't like his dad. He got to feel like he don't like his mom. So, so when he choose sides, choose sides. Yeah, and a lot of that is going on. It spills over. Yeah, a lot of that is going on, and that's when it comes into play as far as co-parenting. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because in a lot of situations, sometimes parents will put the kid against the father. So now you have that situation. And then the father, sometimes he gets an attitude, and instead of him just not disliking the mom, because you can't dislike, saying whoever you was with at the point in time, but if you got kids, there's no reason for you.
He might have favoritism with other kids because it might be easier.
Yeah, so a lot of things.
Or some of the relationship problems play in.
Yeah, a lot of things play a part.
We're not together, could boss me around, this kind of stuff.
Yeah, so my thing is basically looking on too, and like this topic here was basically talking about disconnect and basically just elaborating on different topics on more so trying to figure out, where can we grasp? Like we can go and we can discuss and talk about, this is what it is because this or that, but in all actuality, we somewhat have to get some feedback, as far as, from youngsters. And what I say by that is sometimes we have to just, get amongst them because people talk better when they're by themselves. If they're with a group of friends, they kind of withdrawn.
You know what I think? I really had the inspiration, but I think you added more fuel to the fire when it comes to some things that I've been thinking about doing, and hopefully that can involve some engagement when it comes to trying to connect with the older people. And I feel like even this podcast itself, it enables youngsters to look at the podcast and see and hear your story and experiences that you have when you was young. And the time might be, but it might be a lot of similar scenarios.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because there's really, when people say to me, and I'd heard my son say this before, it's a different time, Dad. True indeed, everything is a different time as far as technology, but as far as when it comes to the basis of things,
history repeats itself.
100%.
100%.
And that's what you got to understand.
And what I found out a lot of times when they're feeding you like the youngsters, times and change, the people that's controlling a lot of things, they're keeping it the same.
Yeah.
And they're keeping people spinning.
Yeah.
And when you see just when it comes to how does before we
I know you, but I don't know you. You know you, but do you know you? Ego and pride aside. You know me, but you don't know me. I know me, but do I know me? Ego and pride aside. I know you when you don't know you. You know me and I don't know me. That voice in your head been heard for a long time. Artificially a mystery in your own mind. In the core which you always hit you with the calm trash. Developing the issue with some shit you could've walked past. All that wrong math, long ass idling. Tribal shit when your mind's your best survival kit. At war with yourself, arguing with the barber dude. You your own worst enemy, sabotaging you. Voices and choices, don't drink the poison. Poised and wise, defining your own ordinance. Boys to men coming into your own consciousness. Waking up, finding yourself finally on top of shit. Ego and pride aside. I know you, but I don't know you. You know you, but do you know you? Ego and pride aside. You know me, but you don't know me. I know me, but do I know me? Ego and pride aside. I know you and you don't know you. You know me and I don't know me. Ego and pride aside.